Hello Gemini, welcome to Sugar Free Tarot. This is the Q4 reading, October, November and December for 2023 for Gemini. So welcome. Right, I'm using two decks here. I've got the Ancient Italian Tarot here. I've got the Major Arcana. And here I have the Rider-Waite split into its suits. So what I'm going to do is pull three Major Arcana cards, and then I'm going to clarify each of those cards with one from the Pentacles, one from the Wands, one from the Swords, and one from the Cups, okay, to drill down a little bit more into the Major Arcana energy. Now, I'm using only one hand because my little lapel mic is weak if I have it clipped to me, so I'm actually holding it right up so you can get some decent volume on this. I must look into that, work out what's going on with the audio. Anyway, you don't need to know that. Let's get on with the reading. I'm going to cut this Major Arcana. I'm going to do that again because I left the top bit on the top, didn't I? Okay. Oh dear. Right. Okay. We've got the Emperor in the reverse. We've got the Devil in the reverse. And we've got the Hermit in the reverse. Wow. Okay. And yeah, I have shuffled and the entire pack is not in the reverse. Righty-ho. Okay, now in this 3-card spread that I favour, position 1 is things as you see them. So straight off, the Emperor in reverse, there's a feeling of not actually being in charge of what's going on in whatever is transpiring. A sense of the absence of authority, or even sort of authority being on its head, maybe either a land with no ruler or a land with a kind of mad anarchic despot ruler. We'll see as we go along. Position number 3 is things as they really are. Position number 2 is called the veil. It's what prevents you from seeing things as they really are. It's like the hinge or the fulcrum point between these two views. So we've got the micro, we've got the macro, and here we have the prism and the lens. Okay. So I would say this feeling of absence or anti-authority here, either, absence of authority or just sort of anarchic enactment of authority here in the Emperor in the reverse, is perhaps a bit of an overreaction. Because what's actually happening here in the Hermit in the reverse is that the necessary work has been done. Okay, the Hermit secretes himself in the cave with nothing but a stick to help him negotiate gravity and a light, one single flame by which to work out what he's doing. Okay, and that single flame really is his soul. This is the soul card. This is the sort of self-contemplation. And perhaps, okay, it's just coming to me today for this Hermit in reverse, the sort of over-contemplation of one's own navel, okay? Sort of looking too far, maybe thinking that it's all about you. Perhaps it's not, Gemini, in this case. And the reason I say that, and this might be an old habit you have of essentially making it all about you. I'm not trying to be nasty about that, because that's a double-edged sword. You know, when everything is about you, or when everything is about one, yes, okay, you know, one is the star of the show and the center of it, but one also has all the responsibility for what kind of transpires in that situation. So it is a double-edged sword. And yeah, this I think might be an old habit. Something has shifted a shift has taken place, or is certainly on the table in this spread. A really wholesale fundamental shift of the sense of who is running your life. And I don't think this is necessarily Gemini. I'm just channeling here. I'm just like riffing on the energy. This is just like pure intuition, kind of inspired by these cards here. I think this might be a kind of opening up of the sense of who's in charge in your life. I think you might have got used to the idea that it is all about you. And as I say, that's a double-edged sword. It's not all good. It doesn't make you a selfish narcissist to think that it's all about you. It doesn't necessarily make you one. It can, but it doesn't necessarily make you one. It can also make you somebody who takes responsibility for things that are actually the business of others and for them to sort out, and you take it all on yourself. And the reason I say this might be quite a long-held way of approaching things is because we have the devil on the table, and the devil is like addictions, old patterns, old hooks, old chains, old kind of structures, old senses of, well, I can't do this because of that. Something's been liberated here because the devil's in the reverse. And this is what we don't see yet. This is what we don't see. I nearly just called you Gemini. This is what we don't see yet. It is safe to come out of the cave. Perhaps that's what I'll call this reading. The devil, as I say, is all about sort of codependency, addiction, bad habits, old bad habits that maybe served a purpose, some sort of psychological or spiritual purpose at one point, and have sort of gone toxic. There's this real feeling of sort of being held down. And I always get off the devil. Maybe it's just about the depiction in this deck. I don't know. But I always get the feeling with the devil that there's this sort of, oh, stop it, I like it sort of thing. The sort of the deliciousness of powerlessness. Like, I couldn't do anything. It wasn't my fault. I did, nobody told me that if I squeezed that bit of metal, a bullet would come flying out at 1,000 miles an hour and kill me. But I didn't know. Okay. It wasn't me. I couldn't help it. It's in the reverse. All right. Something has been unhooked from here. And as I say, this might be sort of really big, really significant. And the presence of those hooks that have now like left the flesh, and the flesh is healing. That might be a very, very, very long-term thing that was set up, ages ago in the past because it served a purpose then. And now it no longer does. And there's liberation here. There really, really is. But that can bring with it, as I say, this sense of like not knowing what the kind of the core constituents of your inner life are. How do you know what way is up? How do you know what is the right thing to do? How do you know what you should do? How do you enact your power in the world, your authority within the world? There might be some lack of clarity on that. And the answer is, dear Gemini, it's safe to come out of the cave. Let your hair down. This dude ain't got a lot of it. But I wonder also, and I might come back to this later on as we go on, whether this hermit used to be this emperor, and somehow this feeling of not knowing how to sort of run things for yourself. Okay, I'll come back to that. But I will say that, quite often, I mean, it would be the Hierophant. The Hierophant becomes the hermit. You get that with popes a lot. And the Hierophant used to be, I know the Hierophant's not on the table, but I see a great connection always between the hermit and the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is also sitting on a throne like the emperor here. Popes, many popes, when they retire, if they retire in a kind of clean and sensible way, if they do retire and not sort of die in post, they do go off and just basically take themselves into permanent retreat, like the hermit. But here, hermit's in reverse. Hermit's in reverse. Come out your cave. Let your hair down. Like, maybe experiment with some sort of ways of dressing that you don't, usually if you usually wear a suit, stick on a pair of shorts. See how it feels. Let the wind blow in your hair. It's safe to let your hair down because the hooks are out. And it looks like it's high time. High time. I'm very, very glad to see it. I'm not clear at the moment what difference this reading would make if these two cards were in their opposite positions. The important card for me here is this one, the Devil in the reverse. But anyway, we'll see more about that as we go. Okay, let's clarify this. Emperor in reverse. Okay, we've got the King of Pentacles. Yeah, man, whatever this was, this kind of power structure, this authority that has been called into question and perhaps no longer works. I don't know, perhaps it's just not working. Perhaps the personnel on whom you enacted your authority have just gone. Perhaps they're just gone. But yeah, very, very, very long established. And I mean, sometimes, if there's some sort of regime change and a king, a ruler has kind of been deposed and perhaps gone a bit mad, but it wouldn't be beyond the sort of wit of wisdom to actually like build him a fake castle and just like leave him in there with a fake court and a fake throne and all of that. I'm not so much getting that off this, but it's just an interesting little kind of side road to go down. But yeah, this King of Pentacles shows me that this power structure that is no longer like operating for you, Gemini, was in place for a very, very long time and brought great rewards when it did. But it's done. It went toxic. That work is done. That removing that toxicity is done. But that's what you don't see yet. Okay, because it's in position 2. But yeah, the King of Pentacles, very established in his wealth and very stable and an answer for everything, a solution for everything, and knowing exactly how to manage this, that, and the other situation. So, it might be quite disturbing for this to have shifted for you, Gemini, but, don't worry. It's good times ahead and no more toxic hooks in your flesh. Power can corrupt. It usually does, sadly, because people are invested in it with their ego. And that's also that's the story of the devil as well. The ego. It does usually corrupt, but it takes a wise ruler to know when it's time to stop. We only have to look at various political situations here, there, and everywhere to get the measure of that. Only the wisest know when it's time to resign and retire. Okay. 7 of Wands. Yeah, wanting to sort of hold on to that role, wanting to hold on to the high ground. We see the dude there, he's up on the high ground, sort of fending off his adversaries who are sort of poking up at him out of sight. But there's something, I always think this about the 7 of Wands, there's something faintly pathetic about it. I know it sounds really, really mean, but it's like, look, you really don't need to sort of make such a song and dance about that wand you're holding, pal, because you are already in an advantageous position in relation to your foes because they're below. You've won. You don't need to go on kind of shaking your big stick at people. there's an unwillingness to believe that the king is dead, but the king is dead, and long live the king. And perhaps we'll see. We'll see how this pans out. I mean, as I say, the king is dead, long live the king. My eye comes to the King of Pentacles here. You know, perhaps there's another message for this, that in letting go of the imperial throne, one can sort of, I don't know, kick oneself upstairs or downstairs to the King of Pentacles, where you still got power, but perhaps there's just a lesser realm, a smaller realm in which to enact it. Can your ego take it? Can it? Let's keep going. Queen of Swords and the Four of Cups. Yeah, Queen of Swords, you have been told, you do know this. You do know that the king is dead. You know that. You know that your role in a situation has come to an end. Your role of power in a situation has come to an end. And, you don't like it. You don't want it. Here we've got this sort of defensive Seven of Wands here, unnecessarily defensive. And here we've got this sort of churlish energy. I mean, for goodness sake, look, he's being offered the flipping Ace of Cups there. And he's like, no, if I can't have the Three of Cups, if I can't have the collective, if I can't have it all, I don't want any of it. That's what I'm getting off the Four of Cups today. That's a shame. I hope we will move on to something a little bit more positive here. In fact, I'm going to go over here now. Two of Pentacles. Six of Wands. Now, the Six of Wands is also present in the Seven of Wands. Okay. You got these six wands here, rightly or wrongly, trying to push this person off their high ground. And here is the Six of Wands with the high ground. This is lovely already. I can say, Six of Wands, winner, winner, chicken dinner, as they say. Let's keep going. Knight of Swords. Oof. Seven of Cups. I'm getting a really nice feeling off this today. And, often the Seven of Cups can mean sort of lack of clarity and sort of confusion and not knowing which way to go, not knowing what to choose. What I'm getting off the Seven of Cups in this reading is an embarrassment of riches, an embarrassment of options for you, Geminis. It's absolutely beautiful. And, options is the key word in this reading for the Two of Pentacles here. Right. Another way of interpreting this. You do have options. You are Six of Wands in a very, very strong position. Okay, Six of Wands, it's not the Emperor, all right? But there is kind of victorious, kind of imperial energy about this card. And we see that from the laurel wreath. He's got one on his head. That's what emperors used to wear, wasn't it, in Roman times? He's got one on his head, and here's one that he kind of flicked off the head of his adversary when he was off fighting that battle, which he has clearly won. You're in a much stronger position than you know. However, Knight of Swords there. This is swift thoughts, swift words, swift choices, swift actions of the mind, and I would say hasty. So guard against hastiness, Gemini, lest your options and your kind of newly established authority and power in a situation, lest those become simply nebulous confusions. Okay. All right. Yeah, look at that. You see? Oops. Oh, I picked off the wrong deck. Right, I'm going to keep that because that resonated so beautifully. That's the Fool. Now, an extra clarifier for the Devil in reverse here. Okay, these hooks and chains and binds and codependencies and old structures that used to give you power and ended up holding you down have gone, right? And this Fool here, this Two of Pentacles here, this Six of Wands here, this is lovely. This is a fresh start if you can but see it in those terms, Gemini. Right. Let's clarify properly. Right. Yeah. This affects everything. Ten of Pentacles, home, hearth, the ancestors, the descendants, wider kind of wider concerns than one's own individual life and prospects. This is beautiful. There's the possibility here, Gemini, for a new establishment, a new world, a new kingdom. The king is dead, long live the king. You're still the king, all right? Never mind gender, it's completely arbitrary. I mean, thank goodness in the major arcana we do have some female power, some Shakti, but it's not on the table today. But yeah, this is wide-reaching stuff, and this Devil in reverse energy here, this liberation from what was a power structure and became a burden, really did affect everything. It really was to do with every aspect of your life, you know, family, work, pensions, bank balances, property, all of that. It affected all of that, and that's probably also why there's some sort of nervousness about moving into a new paradigm here and coming out of this cave and you know, hitting the open road and seeing where it takes you. I can understand, but it's gone. I'm sorry, it's gone. It might be difficult to sort of like accept that because there was a lot invested in it. Eight of Wands. Okay. Eight of Swords. Yeah. Very difficult to see this for what it is. And the Ace of Cups. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. I'm getting from this now, this Ten of Pentacles and this old power really did concern love. Perhaps this was a marriage that has come to an end for some reason or another. And you find yourself in a new world as a single entity, and you're just not quite sure which way to go. And, you know, it's causing some anxiety, but it doesn't have to. You know, the Eight of Swords is kind of self-created worry about things, and we know it's self-created because she's not actually trapped. You know, there's also this is kind of minor arcana devil energy here. This sense of insecurity is self-manufactured, but I can see why, because there was a lot of love in this situation. You know, perhaps there's been some loss, you know, the passing of a situation, and you know, there's a new way to go. I mean, there's always a new way to go, Gemini. You know, when the time is right and the circumstances demand it, there's always a new way to go. But I can see why it might be so hard to let go of. Eight of Wands there. Whatever change this was, this this sort of removal of the old order here with the Emperor in reverse happened swiftly. And there's a sort of sense of disorientation here, and perhaps a wish to go back and recreate that love. But, you know, we all know that's not possible. Okay. Just saying, I'm going to pull one more. I'm going to pull one actually from the Wild Unknown Archetypes. Right, hold on a sec. I'm just going to clip this microphone to my shirt and get this out, because trying to do this with one hand is going to be really, really messing around. Right, here we go. Beautiful oracle deck. I get a feeling there has been a real loss here, and there's some mourning. That's why I want to get one more. I mean, I've already pulled an extra one. This is good. It's good energy, but it's a, you know, it's a period of mourning. But I feel like it's time to move on. But you know, who the am I to say things like that about other people's lives? I don't know. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here is the Wild Unknown Oracle. So I'm just going to look through until I find the one I want. And there it is. Okay. The nectar. The nectar. Right, what we appear to have here is a rose, a hand, and what looked to me like prayer beads. Okay. Right, the nectar is really, really, really where it's at, Gemini. Every bee can tell you that. Right? That's the prize. And it's kind of, it's hidden. The nectar is hidden in that flower. And it is only faith and the willingness to sort of keep searching, keep moving forward. And that, to me, the faith is represented by the prayer beads here. It's only that. It's the choice to keep moving forward that puts us in touch with the nectar, the sweet stuff. I'm a Buddhist, Gemini, and one of the practices I've done involves a visualization concerning nectar. And nectar, Buddhists, like the old Tibetan Buddhists, are big on the whole thing about nectar. This is really, really important. There is something utterly beautiful in this energy for you. And I'm seeing that also now represented here in the Ace of Cups. It's a cup full of nectar. And so's this. You know, as I said, he's being offered the Ace of Cups. And because he's so, like, peed off about no longer being the ruler in his own world, he's refusing it. But it's still there. It doesn't make any difference whether he takes it or not. It's still there. And it is chock full of nectar. So a period of adjustment, Gemini, perhaps a period of mourning, and a sort of a period of reassessment of where do you go from here. All right, that's what I'm going to call this reading. Where do you go from here? And a very clear kind of bit of advice here in this final column to not allow over swift and hasty thoughts, words and decisions to turn this Ace of Cups and this Two of Pentacles, all these possibilities, into a kind of like silly game where you're sort of choosing blindfold. Don't choose blindfold, because if you do that, you might miss the nectar. The nectar is on offer for you here, Gemini, if you take your time and allow yourself to grieve what has been lost, because it's not over. It's not finished for you, Gemini. Keep going. This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful as even one little drop of that. Right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.